expenses, but because of long-running illness or infirmity, will incur huge care costs, but greater than can be covered by any existing pension provision. As the UK's population ages and longevity improves, we'll see a higher percentage of these people living beyond their 70s and barely being able to manage the substantial cost of care. So where are the solutions going to come from? Well, obviously from actuaries, or I wouldn't be standing here. And we can't do nothing about this unappealing problem, because who, after all, is going to pay for this increased demand for long-term care? Once upon a time, maybe 50 years ago, there were trade associations which used to run holiday and care homes. But that has just become too expensive even for the most egalitarian employers, and they have all withdrawn from offering care homes. The current private sector solutions are insufficient. Private medical insurance now hardly ever covers the cost of long-term care. The amount of money that people are willing to pay for medical insurance premiums is just too small for medical insurers to take on that risk. I'm including long-term care under medical insurance, but pure medical insurance normally will only pay out for acute care. So any chronic condition, even leaving out care home costs, is not even going to be covered for you to have a private doctor. Hardly anyone is saving enough for their future long-term care. It's been put to the back of the list of most individuals' financial concerns. And again, this morning, I can't remember the actuary from Cardano was saying, small risks and you tend to just ignore it. 2/3 of the respondents to a GfK national opinion poll recently said they had no plans to save any money for care when they got older. So is it going to come from employers, insurance, savings? Who knows? If there is a solution to this problem, I believe it will have to be the pensions industry and its actuaries, you, who will come up with the solution. There must be a group or public sector solution, not just an individual one. Pay-as-you-go doesn't work in the demographic scenario that we're describing. And much as I used to speak out against DB schemes in the form that they are modelled, I think that they may be the drawing board that we have to go back to find a future solution. It's the pensions industry and its actuaries that have the necessary skills to design and structure a product that needs to pay for these excessive care bills. It's the pensions actuaries who have the skills to work out the costs of a problem that will fall on many pensioners, but not all of them. And this is where I think the innovation and ideas are going to have to come to cover. It's the pension actuaries who have the necessary experience to price this product into a pension savings scheme, so that it will be sold to a wide cross-section of the UK's population as possible. If the problem is not solved and a new product is not designed and integrated into any pension savings plan and successfully sold, what will be the result? Well, some people can carry on working until they drop, albeit in less senior or in part-time roles. So how can we fit this into a pension fund? That you have that some people will carry on working into old age, but some people will not, and they will have all their care needs taken on. So you've got this cross-subsidy going on, and somebody has to work out how to do it. Yesterday, Alan Pickering was suggesting that we shouldn't have a compulsory retirement age. That doesn't solve the problem, because part of the reason a compulsory retirement age was instituted was so that people left the company. If you have somebody who, because of ill health or old age, reaches the age that would have been compulsory retirement age, but you have to keep them in the company, what is happening is you may not call it a pension fund or a care fund, but effectively the company is subsidising that person, which, if we're a caring society, yes, somebody has to do it, and it may be that we decide it's the company that has to do it, but the problem is that by insisting that that person remains in the company, it demotivates the other workers in the company because they feel they're carrying the individual. There has to be a more formal, structured way of caring for that person. And the person who can carry on working then is allowed to carry on working in the company. So we have to design some sort of pension payment structure that allows for these two diverse sort of individuals, and the benefit shouldn't be a straight benefit that is for everybody at age X, Y, Z. It will depend on the needs of the person. So let's carry on with this theme, and let's have a look at, and as I said, what we actually mean by poverty, because that as well is something that Alan referred to in his talk yesterday. Poverty, when governments provide pensions, they tend to say to measure poverty. But poverty is a moving measure. It's a relative measure. So what we would consider poverty nowadays, probably 50 years ago, somebody would call, wow, you know, amazing. So we have to, you know, just having an arbitrary measure is not good enough. A writer as long ago as 100 BC, so I'm not quite that old, but I do like to pick up on these old definitions, referred to this concept of adequacy, and roughly said, if someone is poor, it just means that they've got less than their neighbour. So we need to also define what we mean by an adequate pension. Because as well as these people that want to carry on working in a less senior position or a more advisory position, you will also have the people who do actually want to retire and who want to go on a cruise or look after the grandchildren or the garden or whatever. So another thing that will have to be defined, and I haven't seen this brought out anywhere very clearly recently, is that there is a difference between the welfare aspects of a pension and the basic subsistence parts of a pension. So we need to think about differentiating between the welfare and the savings aspect of the pension, and maybe the welfare aspects and part that the government does, and the savings individuals or their company.